Pop quiz. After you buy a house, what's the very first thing you should do?
Well, we usually make mac and cheese.
That's the very first thing that you do?
Well, I don't know. You sign a bunch of paperwork.
Well, no. Like, you've already done that.
You've already done that part.
This is, you bought it. You're done. You're closed. Now what?
Yeah, we go have mac and cheese.
Quiz. All right.
I mean,
You just
move in.
You leave the office and go get some mac and cheese.
Yeah,
Love it.
right?
That is one option. And we're going to talk about what you should actually do today on the Furlo Capital Real Estate Podcast, where we dive into the intricacies of passive real estate investing. And I will admit, my secret goal for this episode is to make you go, I don't want to do this. I want to invest with James so that he can do it.
He can do that.
That's my goal, just to describe the process.
Full disclosure.
And that's because our mission is to equip people to invest wisely in both property and people and all the steps involved in doing that so that together we can build wealth while improving housing. I'm James, and this is my soon-to-be overwhelmed wife, Jessi.
Soon to be overwhelmed.
Oh, 100%. That's my goal.
Okay, well, yeah,
Secret
I guess
goal.
that's
That's my
true.
secret
That way I
goal.
can be like, oh, yeah, I would like you to do those things. I'll make the mac and cheese, I guess.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah,
mac and cheese.
I don't know what the first thing is you do.
Yeah, so we should probably explain.
Drive over there?
We should explain that a little bit more. So we have a tradition.
That's true. That's true.
I don't feel like we don't do it anymore, but that's just because you're not.
Well, I'm not really kind of in the mix of it. Also,
I
think in those places, in all the places, the tradition was like we bought a place and we're gonna move into it. The first night we sleep there.
Well, we at least would just make a meal.
Or at least make a meal.
You don't remember what we did. And then
we slept there for
I don't think we did.
Several of them.
I don't think so.
Well, maybe not all of them.
We would grab a blanket and we would
we'd make a meal.
We'd make mac and cheese on the oven, hang out, but then we would go sleep in our own bed because there was no
there was nothing there.
Now we would make the meal and then go around and start our here's the list.
That's true. We'd make
stuff.
our punch list of
and then we would.
It's a top priority.
Yeah, totally. Which is an option. Now, anytime I close, I celebrate by getting pizza.
Yay.
Which is still fun.
We like
macaroni and cheese one's fine. But oftentimes now we're buying houses, distressed houses specifically, where it may or may not have an oven. And I'll be honest, I don't necessarily want to cook off of it. So we don't do that.
Oh, that's bad. But I totally get it. Yeah.
Exactly.
First thing, don't walk inside.
Yeah. Well, so here's what's interesting, right? I think that, at least this is what I think is interesting, is that a lot of focus is on the finding of the deal. And getting the deal and closing it and doing that. Yeah. Which is generally fun and exciting, and I get why everyone likes it. But, man, that's the start of the race.
Oh.
And there's a lot that have to do afterwards. And oftentimes with specifically distressed properties, that means that there's deferred decisions that have been made on this, not just the maintenance piece of it.
Yep.
It often presents itself as that, but there's just been a bunch of stuff that hasn't happened. I also think if you're not necessarily, I don't want to say it, if you're not investing passively in a deal, even if you're like, hey, I have now bought this and I'm hiring a property manager to go do this for me, it's good to know here's what this process is. Because you can very much, if you wanted to, buy a distressed property and then hire a property manager to say, hey, man, get this thing ready to rock. You could do it. Doesn't happen super often, but it could happen. All right, so this is the checklist.
Ooh, I like checklists.
Is not comprehensive, but there's a lot of things.
It's like a starting checklist.
All right, so number one thing you got to do, secure the asset, which often means change the locks.
That makes sense.
Yes, unless you buy as really bad as we do sometimes, like we don't.
There's
whatever,
no door.
Man. It's all good. We've had situations like that where like this is not secure. It's security by obscurity. No one knows that the back door doesn't actually lock, so we're fine.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you also want to make sure utilities get transferred into your name.
Oh,
that was actually super annoying. We've had to add that to our checklist because we've had it where we're like, oh, let's get people in there, and like, there's no power. Shoot. Sorry, come back tomorrow. Super lame. You can do this if you want to. You can do a video walkthrough of every room, do a narration, make sure it's time-stamped, just to like, hey, let's just catalog what we're doing. Sure. It's funny, we did a project earlier today, and it was funny, we got to the end, and you're like, oh, we should have taken a before picture.
It's like, I wanted a before.
And so,
before.
That's
comparison.
what you want to do.
Interesting.
Do
you just,
that.
like, essentially take a timestamp, a log. Here's what it is.
And depending on where you are in that process, you may have already looked for mold and water problems, pest things, foundations, panels, all those things.
Make a note of what has to happen.
Correct.
It's non-negotiable.
You also want to check your smoke and CO2 detectors. Because if you're buying distressed, there may or may not be a realtor involved. If there's a realtor involved, they will generally make sure, like they have to be.
Yeah, safety things have to be checked. But it's just
good to let's just press the button, make sure we're good, and swap them out. Because you don't, though we've had a couple where like, this is actually better if it burned down. But as a general rule, you don't want that to happen. Yeah. If there are any squatters or abandoned property or vehicles, again, you just want to document all of that.
Document or do something about it.
This is day one.
I mean, you need to do something about it, but I get it.
Yeah. Well, for squatters, Oregon's weird.
Yeah, so that's true.
You gotta document it and then go through the process. But you want to be like, hey, I got this day one, because the problem with squatters is if you know about it and don't do anything about it, then that becomes an issue within a limited amount of time. And I've actually advised and talked to people where that's the case. We're like, hey, this person moved in. They're not on the lease. They've been paying rent, but now I don't like it because he's smoking, doing other stuff. What do I do? And I'm like, well, how long have you known about the person?
Yeah.
Because that matters. Because if they've been there, I believe, I'd have to look it up, but I believe it was like if you know them for 3 months, 90 days, and you haven't done anything about it,
they get to stay.
They're kind of on the lease now.
Wow.
Bummers. So that's why you document it right away.
Yeah.
Get that going. So then what you're going to do is, this kind of depends on the project, the scope of it, but now you're in planning phase.
Yeah.
So you're going to get potentially a structural engineer out there to look at things. Maybe, kind of depends on the house and the building.
What you notice.
You're going to get a plumber out there to start looking at what the plumbing situation is. So they can do it. Same thing with the electrician. Same thing with the HVAC and the roof. You're getting all those people. And depending on what you've seen, it may make sense to go and pull the permit history. Now, some of these things you're going to do during your due diligence, but to be honest,
that's what I was just thinking. Is like, don't you get an inspector during your due diligence, and they kind of make you a list?
It depends. Oftentimes for what we're doing is we're making quick offers, we're moving fast.
Right.
We're doing our own walkthrough.
Yeah.
Kind of do some estimates, getting super conservative because we know there's going to be some what.
Sure.
And so,
well, and I suppose if you're gonna fix everything and that's the plan, you don't necessarily need to have it all diagnosed ahead of time.
Exactly.
You can move quickly, have the deal go through, and then diagnose and fix.
Because that's part of the deal. Like making a cash offer is nice.
Yeah.
And it's not just, we can move fast, but it's also, we're not going to be super intrusive. We're just walking through, we're making estimates. We're not going to drag this out for 3 months so we can get all of those people in.
The details.
Now, bigger building, you're doing all this stuff ahead of time as you should, but this is distressed. That's what we're talking about. Those are what you're going to pull from it. Okay. Now, you're going to do some other things. Potentially, you're going to start testing for lead paint. You're going to test for asbestos, and kind of the year of the property matters for this. If you do find it, you're going to get a licensed abatement company in there to kind of do it yourself. And you're going to want to do all that before you start any cosmetic work, for sure. And, there's other stuff too, depending on how you've structured the financing of this. It's just looping back with title, just to making sure all the right paperwork is in place. It's kind of weird, but I've had this where it's like just weird stuff happens after the fact. We're like, I thought you were going to record this or not, or something like that. So it's just double checking that all the things are done. If it's in an HOA, you want to catch up with any dues, violations, pending assessments, that kind of stuff. And you're just going to confirm that insurance is ready to rock and potentially add an umbrella depending on your situation and where you're at. So it's just a lot of, you notice we haven't even swung the hammer yet.
It's kind of a long list.
I know. Well, and oftentimes you want to just get in there and start swinging that hammer. And we've learned this through some hard stuff where it was like, we do need to switch the utilities. That kind of thing. Just because it just doesn't magically happen, oddly enough. Yeah. Okay. Now we're getting into the rehab. I'm curious what you think of the order of a rehab would be.
I would think
here's your test.
Health and safety first.
No, I'm like, what's your first activity you're going to do?
make a list of all the projects.
Okay, and then what?
And then prioritize them into what to do first.
What's the first physical thing you're going to do?
Oh.
What do you do first on a project?
Demo?
Yeah, demo.
Break it up first.
Yep. That's the first thing. And then what are you going to do?
Clean it up, prep work for whatever you're going to build or fix.
Yeah, so you're going to do all the rough end work. So you're not doing the finishing stuff. You're then going to get it inspected. And then you're going to put up your drywall and start the finishing process.
Sure.
And typically you end with the flooring. It's kind of a weird, I don't know, I've seen it both ways. Sometimes you do the flooring very first, then you put all the stuff around it. And sometimes you do it very last. I honestly don't know.
It depends on what type of floor you're putting in. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen both.
Yeah.
It's kind of an interesting deal. But that's kind of so yeah, you're right. You do want to get the scope of work kind of figured out ahead of time. If you're having other people do it, ideally they're making their bids and talking about it all. It's all written down. You then want to make sure you got your schedule kind of figured out. You may not have like specific dates, but at least you know here's the order in which we're going to be doing things.
Estimated timelines.
Yeah. You're also going to think through your draw schedule. So for us, we get all the money from our investors up front. So we just got a pile of cash. And then what we do is we actually put it into a high yield savings account because, I'll earn 4% on my money if I'm not touching it. But then we have to think about when are we going to need those funds and do draws. And so we'll have those in a calendar. It's really easy. For some of the people we've worked with, it's super easy because they tell us ahead of time. For others, they're like, well, I'll let you know. We're like, well, we need a 3-day heads up.
Yeah.
And so we'll move it back and forth. We just joke. We're like, this is pizza money because it does it. But I mean, it's a couple $100. It's what we get out of it. And we're like, yeah, cool. And you also, I think I said this, for work that needs to be permitted, you just want to make sure that's all happening. I'm honest, like we don't do the work ourselves. We have other people do it. And so they make sure all that happens. You do want to make sure you got a good buffer in the old budget. That's the thing, especially if you're getting started out.
Right. You're always, really I feel like with distressed properties, you're always going to find something else.
Well, and you run into, it's the, it might as well phenomenon. So you take this wall out, there's something old there, you're right here, you're working on it. We might as well just replace it. You and I were working on a project a couple days ago, and we had to fight that.
We just be like, not right now.
Like, this isn't perfect.
That's a different project.
Thankfully, that one was like, we're going to have to go to Home Depot and get the stuff and crawl back under. It's a thing. So it was easier to fight. But, it's a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
You and we got a project coming up middle of next month, and we are really going to struggle with that one.
Yeah, I could definitely see myself being like, well, since we're out here, let's just add that next step. Let's just do that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Well, that's hard.
So that's
set boundaries.
Yeah, and that's part of why you inflate your budget because you don't know what it is, but you know it's going to be there, and so that's definitely a thing. And and then honestly, you're just like at that point, you're into it. If you're doing your work yourself, you do the work. If you're the one coordinating contractors, you're sticking with the schedule, making sure things happens. If you've hired a general, they're doing it. A lot of what you're doing is showing up regularly and being available to answer questions. It's kind of funny. I don't know if you might have experienced this in other places, but we'll go and he'll have like 3 to 10 questions for us. Like, man, what would have happened if I hadn't shown up? You know what I mean? It's like, were you going to text it? He never does text them. Yeah. And so I'm like, I'm glad I was here. And I don't know, maybe he goes, well, he's going to be here eventually. I'll just hold off and wait. I don't know.
Maybe.
Or he doesn't need them answered right away. So, but since you're here, might as well ask. I don't know. But I'm regularly like, why? All right. Glad I showed up. This happens in other places.
Oh, it definitely happens.
It's totally a thing.
Just
it's pretty funny though.
Yeah, since you're here, can I ask this or that?
And so that's what you're going to do, right? Now, once the rehab is done, you now move into whatever that next phase, and it's really going to depend on what your exit plan is.
Sure, whether it's renting it out
if you're going to rent it out, maybe you're doing it yourself, maybe you're hiring a property manager. I would get the property manager involved a lot earlier in the rehab process just so they can start thinking about it and getting it on their horizon. It doesn't have to be crazy early.
Is that just so when it's done, it's ready to rent?
Correct.
Like they've already done all their lease write-ups and
whatever. Yeah, potentially. I mean, honestly, you can't really rent a place until it's done because tenants have zero imagination, which is fine. And so you kind of got to wait until it's finished before they can take the photos and get it listed. Yeah. So they can't make a lot of moves, but they can at least get it in the system and be ready for when it's done. They can also have an opinion about some stuff. You know, hey, what kind of carpet should we use for this or whatever, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Or if you're getting ready to sell it, then you're moving into, okay, we're gonna photography this. We're gonna take photos of it.
Yep.
We're potentially gonna stage it. Kind of depends on what you want to do there. And I also think this one's kind of an interesting one. Not a lot of people do it, but I like it. And I'll be honest, we don't really do it either. It's just doing a move-in inspection. Oh. And so if you're going to sell it, that's a really interesting selling point to be like, hey, we had this thing already inspected just to make sure all the work was done. We're good to go.
Yeah.
If you're going to rent it, then you definitely are going to do a move-in inspection as well. They're two different things, related, but different things. And so, so that's kind of at a super high level what you're going to do. But there's a whole bunch of steps at the very beginning.
Yeah, before you even get in there and start working, there's a lot of like just verifying. Of information and documents and.
Yeah.
Boring.
It's a thing.
Yeah, you're right. I would like someone else to do that.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And so I was thinking about it, and one of the things I thought about was like distressed investing. It's not that it's necessarily harder. It's just less forgiving because there's a whole bunch of weirdness that comes with it that you don't normally have to deal with. And if you forget to do that step, or you just kind of, hey, we'll just go in and wing it.
Yeah.
That makes it harder. You really got to have a plan. And sometimes you get lucky and the margins are amazing, but honestly, they're okay. And that's the risk, especially if you're doing a short-term thing. Oh man, like you got to get it right because you can't say, oh, I'll know it for 15 years and then I'll look like a genius at the end. Nope. And no one will know that my returns were actually only 5% over the last 15 years.
Yeah.
Which definitely is a thing. And so, so the question is, if you are investing yourself and you're buying a distressed property, what of those phases that we talked about are you potentially skipping over and not really thinking through?
Yeah.
And if you are a passive investor, the question is like, have you asked your operator about this? Hey, what are those steps that you take when you first move in?
Sure.
And just double checking that, like, they're checking all the boxes and doing it. I'll be honest, I actually don't have to do a lot of it because I got an awesome partner who he handles a lot of those things for me, which is fantastic.
Oh, someone's doing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. Yes. He's doing it.
Because you've talked about it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we're good. And so that's kind of the process. Honestly, it's not crazy hard, but there's just a lot of things. Yeah. We kind of go back and forth. Sometimes when we first got started, we had a huge checklist inside of ClickUp, and that was how we managed and remembered everything. We've done this enough times now where it's not quite as super crazy detailed anymore. It's more of like, hey, these are the high level things that we got to do.
Yeah.
And we're checking with each other.
There's a series of things underneath each of those. Yeah.
Also, not surprising, having a really good contractor on your team makes a huge difference in that process.
That makes a big difference.
Which is really nice.
They can just give you estimates faster and easier. And
you just, like a bunch of those things that are supposed to be happening are happening, which is which is nice.
That as well.
Even though, man, it could be when you're at the beginning and you're starting to open stuff up. Yeah. Because you create the plan. And then you start opening things up, and they're like, "Oh, okay, we need a new plan now because we just discovered this thing." And so, that's I hate that phase of the project. I'm borderline like, don't even ask me, just whatever, just get it done. I don't care. Like, yes, it's got to be fixed.
Once you make the final plan, then let me know.
Yeah. Demo. It's fun to do, but man, it's that. Okay, now we discovered everything.
It is the uncovering of messes.
It's just that's an emotional roller coaster I cannot handle.
Yep.
But that's all right. We got good people to help me get over it. So there you go. So we do these kind of projects pretty regularly. And if you would be interested in buying or investing in a distressed house with us, or you've got one and you'd like to eventually rent it out, turn it into a long-term rental, love it. I was talking with a guy or texting with a guy earlier this week where that's what he's looking to do. And so we were talking about from a management standpoint. We were just trying to figure out like, what are the rents going to be in this area and what should I plan for and stuff like that. So it's totally a thing. So if you'd like to learn more about doing it with us, you can check us out at furlo.com. So with that, thanks for listening. Have a great day.